Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. In this video, we're going to be doing an ink and watercolor painting, and this is going to be my contribution for Inktober. If you do a traditional Inktober, you're supposed to do a pen and ink drawing every day, and they have different prompts and things, but this is about as much as I can usually get done. So you can pick any kind of watercolors that you want. These watercolors came in a Sketchbox subscription, so I use those every now and then. And excuse me, anytime that you want to use water or a brush, you can combine them together and just use a water brush. Or you can get some traditional watercolor brushes. This one is just, it comes in handy, and if you're not doing things too detailed or you're not doing a great big painting, those little water brushes are quite handy. And then here you can pick any kind of ink that you want. These are King Art Inkline pens. You can use dip pens. You can use Winsor Newton ink. You can use just whatever kind of ink that you want, and you might want to see if it's waterproof. If you use ink that's not waterproof, then you would put the ink on last before your watercolor. So here I have a little picture that I photo bashed. The ghost is mine. He's a little plushie that I bought, and then I bought him a little hat, and I bought a little handkerchief to put around his neck. And then the background is from Pixabay, and it's Monument Valley in Arizona. And I just kind of wanted to have it a Western look. So here I'm just making a preliminary sketch. And when you do watercolor and ink, you kind of want to do the beginning sketch in pencil and make sure that you can erase it, and make sure that you don't press down real hard on the paper if you're doing this traditionally, because you want to be able to kind of erase your pencil lines, make them really indistinct. But you also want to kind of get your drawing accurate, because you're going to ink over it after you get it painted. So here I'm just working on moving some of the elements around, trying to make it look like it's like the little ghost is floating, and I want him at a certain angle. So I was just using some of the transform tools in Infinite Painter, and that's the app that we're using. We're using Infinite Painter for Android. And here I'm just kind of working again on the sketch, trying to get it more accurate and just get the shape of the ghost and the face. I want the little face there. I thought it was really cute, that look on the ghost face. I like his little eyes. And so anyway, I'm just kind of working on trying to get sort of a good sketch going. And as I said, if you're doing this traditionally, you might actually want to do this on a transfer paper first or something, or a different paper than what you're going to paint on, because you don't want to have a lot of erase marks on your good watercolor paper. So you might actually do this on another piece of paper and then use some transparent paper to draw the sketch, and then transfer it onto a good piece of watercolor paper. And you can use cold press, hot press. There's all different kinds of surfaces for watercolor paper. Just depends on what you prefer. Cold press is rougher than hot press usually. So if you want a smoother look, then you would get hot press paper. And there's also rough, just rough press paper as well. So here I'm just kind of working again more on the look of the ghost and the mountains. They're called the Mittens in Arizona, and it's Monument Valley. And these are actually cores of old volcanoes, and that all that's left is the magma core. So it's really interesting, the geology is in Monument Valley. And so I'm just kind of moving around some of the elements on um, the painting here, and that's what's good about digital, is that you can actually use the transform tool and move elements around, and you don't have to erase. But that's why I said do it maybe on a separate piece of paper than your final watercolor if you're doing this traditionally. So here I'm just kind of working on uh, the shape of the ghost again, trying to get the correct shape that I want, and put a few clouds behind him maybe in a minute. I'm working on his hat and bandana, just trying to kind of get the shape of that. I like the hat being tilted on his head. That just makes it look cute, I thought. And so I'm working on some different layers. You have your really sketchy layer, and then you can go ahead and add another layer and start making things look a little bit smoother. And so here I'm erasing it because I wanted to get a little bit better look on the hat. And so I'm working on the shape of the head as well. And you kind of want to make your sketch accurate, because this is what you're going to have as the final look, and you're just going to ink over it. So this is different than acrylic, where the paint is going to cover up most of your sketch. With watercolor it won't, because watercolor is translucent, and so you want to go ahead and get your sketch correct on your paper so that you can just ink over it. And so I'm just kind of working on the facial features, and I like the little look of the eyes, the sort of crescent shapes of the eyes. I just thought that that was cute, and so I wanted to go ahead and get the bandana look. And I want the ghost to be transparent. I want you to be able to see the background. So I'm going to let some of the mountains in Monument Valley show through him, because he's a ghost, and this just makes it look more realistic, or it makes, not realistic maybe, but it brings home the point that he's a ghost, because he's transparent and you can see through him. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, and just kind of working on some of the elements. And I decided I wanted to tilt his eyes a little bit more in the opposite direction of the hat, just to make it look a little bit more crooked, and then his eyes and face would be straight. So that's what I was trying to do there. And I'm toggling on and off the original sketch to see what I need to put on the bottom for the mountains in the background. So I'm just kind of working on that, just trying to get it in good shape to go ahead and ink it. And I'm erasing the lines a little bit on the bottom, but I still want that some lines on the bottom, because I want it to show the different colors of the land and the terrain on the Monument Valley there. And then I'm working on some clouds, and again I want him to be transparent, so I'm letting the clouds show through the ghost, and even that includes even his clothes. So it's like his clothes are ghostly as well. And so here's the end of part 1. of my cowboy ghost. And in part 2, we'll start adding some color and working on the watercolor part. So stick around if you want to see that, and hit the subscribe button. And thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I'll catch you later.